party. I'm your host, Mike Wall. Thank you for watching. If you're enjoying, just hit that subscribe button, rate, review us. Please check out our Process Super page forum on YouTube. We're going to come out with more stuff every week. Certainly the On My Block podcast is there as well. And then you can check me out, Mike Wall68 on Twitter, TikTok, Process to Perform on Instagram. I wanted to go through this week. I mean, this just had championship weekend. And the Eagles-Niners game, that was actually the game I was looking forward to. It was going to be, I thought it was just going to be this amazing game. Number 1 and 2 defenses, unstoppable, maybe the most creative offensive in the National Football League. Maybe you could throw the Chiefs in there as well. But just from an offensive line standpoint, the things that they're doing, the way they're manipulating defenses, the way they're manipulating the eyes at the second level, particularly with those linebackers, just a really, really fun game to watch. Eagles' offensive line is the best in the business. And really, when you watch this game, and it's easy to say, well, you know, the third-string quarterback, Brock Purdy, got hurt in the first series. So after the first series, the game was effectively over. And I think that's true. But let's go into those, literally watch those first series of the Eagles offense and the Eagles defense, and specifically a couple players that set the tone for the entire game. Offensively, the way they're going to attack that Niners defense, in particular some of their top players. And then what Hassan Reddick did from a defensive standpoint is still, as great as Kyle Shanahan is still kind of a head scratcher. In your first 15, you put a play in where a backup tight end in a three-point stance has to block that guy after what you've already seen. So let's dive into this stuff right now. Waste no more time. So the Eagles, I just put set the tone here because they really just set the tone on how they're going to run their offense. You're looking for play one, and this guy's an all-pro. He's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and I just love the way they think about things. So they go five down defensive linemen. First snap, we spread them out. They go one in the backfield, but really they're going to be in 11 personnel here. You got 5-on-5 blocking, and Kelsey is just, he's using that. You're going to trap with one arm and stab with the other. And he's already dictated that you're going to go to my right, your left. I'm going to put my left foot up. He's going to create that natural angle so the guy can't guess. And to protect him, he's actually using that catch hand on the left side, and then he's going to stab. He is equally good with both hands. Kelsey's one of those guys that can snap and punch immediately. He doesn't do that here, although he can, but he snaps, takes a step back, gets his stagger, gets that catch hand out, and then absolutely dominates with this inside hand. You see that just locked out. 94, it's excellent. We go back to the exact same play, though, and one of the things you want to look at during the course of this game is Jalen Hurts is unlike other quarterbacks, traditional pocket passers. When he drops back, he doesn't take that step up. So when Jalen Hurts drops back and he gets his 3, gets his 5, gets whatever his depth's going to be, usually you see these quarterbacks either plan at 10, step up to 9, step up to 8.5, step up to 8.5, You see them plant at 10 and immediately throw. Jalen will just plant at 9, plant at 10, and stop. And he might even back up. And so the way that the tackles, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, all-pro, first-ballot Hall of Famer most likely as well, the way that they think about attacking their defensive end and the way that defensive end has to think about Jalen Hurts in particular changes. And so during the course of the game, Lane Johnson will mix up some things, and I'm not a huge proponent of trying to mix up, especially the width of the pocket in your stance, because if you're really good at something, like, why go away from it? You have enough confidence in what you're doing. But you're also playing the man. And because of the way that Nick Bosa rushes, if he has his inside, he's a long strider, he's playing the leverage game, he's got tight hand moves, but he doesn't have chop club. He doesn't have a lot of the stuff that you see kind of traditional pass rushers have. He's playing an inside hand leverage work off it game big time. He's one of those guys. He's a Cam Wake. He's a guy that says, I've got this move and I've got moves off it. If you can beat this move, I'm saying that I'm going to beat you enough times where I'm going to be the all-pro. So as we go through this game and you kind of watch what the quarterback presence does, and you see that Lane Johnson's a big human. He's got great technique. He's got great hands, and he gets bowled every once in a while. But if we just go back, everyone's going to get bowled by Bosa. But you see Bosa's got that get off, and Lane Johnson is trying to stay square to the line of scrimmage. He's basically using body position and footwork to win here. He does not win with his hands. He wins with footwork and body position. That's what we always talk about, process to performance with the guys I work with in the NFL. This is the biggest thing, because we can talk about how defensive linemen are trying to defeat your hands. We can talk about how they're trying to attack your elbows, attack your armpits. The reality is they're doing all that from a position where they already have an edge on you because you've turned too early, you have poor footwork. If you can stay in front of your man, the battle is like 80% won. And you'll just see during the course of this game, although it's not always pretty against an all-pro, one of the best pass rushers in the league, Lane does a great job simply because he's in his way. Now we see the double teams here, and this is, the second play of the game where we're just starting off with a domination on the left side. You look at the right side with Kelsey double teaming with the right guard up to Greenlaw, and they don't do. You have to love the way that Kelsey attacks everything, full speed, turns his body, absolutely goes for it. They don't do a great job on the right side here, but because the left side block is so dominant. Now, when we look at Greenlaw, he should be making this play right now in the hole. If you watch any of their tape, the way that Warner and Greenlaw hit holes is ridiculous because of the offense they run, because they have to hesitate, and now because of the push that you got on that left side, even though Kelsey can't get up to the linebacker, they're still going to get a 5-yard gain. This is what's so impressive about and not to mention they're running 6 in the box. This is what's so impressive about the Eagles offense. I just don't know how you stop it consistently. So now we have a 3-man gain here. This is what I'm talking about. So Kelsey, they're going to run play action here. The tight end's going to bang out and release. And right guard, right tackle have the defensive tackle, defensive end. But Kelsey is coming over because it's a play action look, and he's going to absolutely try to hammer one of these guys. And they screwed this up. Like they miss. This is early in the game, and it ends up working out. The running back picks up Bosa. Lane Johnson comes all the way over. The right guard's trying to figure out which way is which because he thinks he should be snapping back. Lane's not there anymore because he's chasing Bosa. With a guy like Lane Johnson, I don't know him personally. I have to imagine he went into this game like Bosa's not going to make a play. Like, I don't care if somebody else gets a play. Like, Bosa's not going to make a play. That's the kind of competitor he seems to be. So he jumps across the right guard and goes and finds his guy. Kelsey's chasing him back. But it all works out. And it works out because they're playing full speed. They're playing fast. And they just are – the scheme that they're running and the speed that they play at makes you think about what's going on defense. And if you hesitate, you're defeated. Got a spread out look. Tight end's not attached. Single back in the backfield. And you've got this great 4-on-5 look. And here, again, there's not a step up here. And that matters because – let me go back. As he gets back to his depth, he stands. He doesn't come up to the pocket and all of a sudden have to make extra moves. So now Lane Johnson is getting bold. He's got arms outside. He does a really smart thing here. So Bosa's got incredible leverage. So he gets back. And right here, he's hands off. He's arms on, hands off. And he's actually got him bear hugged, but he's not holding on to him. This against with a really good player, you might not get a holding call here. But the big deal is because Hurts has that opportunity to go behind him or in front, it's really hard for Bosa. If you pick a side, you lose. So when you come down the middle now, you give him a two-way go. It's like it's a conundrum. It's like a paradox for a pass rusher. If you put your head into the guy, he's going to go whatever way you want. If you pick a side, he has the ability to go the other way. So this is the power and the difficulty for a defense of having a guy like Jalen Hurts. Now you see that Kelsey is pointing here that this is who the quarterback has. I don't know if they have a squeeze call over on the right side. If the right guard, right tackle should squeeze this down, they end up not squeezing it down. Kelsey goes over to left and picks up Fred Warner. So Greenlaw runs free. You can see the right guard's going at late. Johnson's not coming off Bosa. Like he's not. It wasn't going to happen. Bosa's not getting any kind of free run today. I love it. But this works. And usually what would happen is you squeeze down from the right guard, right tackle position. You squeeze down, let Bosa get a free hit. Then it's just not, whether that's the tackle making that decision, whether that's the guard just not communicating this, it doesn't happen. But this is kind of know when it's going to be. This is when you know as an offense, like, oh, it's going to be our day today, right? Because that play that just shouldn't have worked, and it worked out. Great throw, great catch. They run this quick trap here for nothing. And so now we have double mugged A-gap linebackers. They drop out. Great job. And again, you see that Jalen Hurts is at the top of his pocket, and he just has space. This is what we're talking about. There's two things that happen here. So Bosa's got his rush, and when Bosa starts with his outside hand up, he's a strider. So on his third step now, he's going to go left, right, left on his left third, or I guess second, left, third step. That's when he's going to bull. Lane Johnson studies tape, great student of the game. He's backing up, and he gets those hands just good enough. It's not a great body position by any means because you really have to work because of the long stride of Bosa. But right here, Bosa sees an opportunity to go inside. He forgets his rules. He forgets that he can't do that because Hurts has an escape mechanism. Lane Johnson gets that right hand in and prevents Bosa from coming back outside. That right hand is crucial, and that's why you spend so much time working on your craft. Hurts is now able to escape upfield, and although this doesn't turn into anything, it's not a bad play. Now we got empty backfield spread. Great pocket. Got the double A gaps again, so they're trying to give some the bail late, trying to give some some of the similar starting looks. And you see that he's tall. He's not walking in to his left guard. He's not walking into his right guard. They always are. That depth is more manageable just because of the way Hurts plays. Again, you get to the top of this drop here, you see a lot of guys take a step at 10, bounce back to 9. Jalen doesn't do that. He just plants his foot, looks, takes the step, not go anywhere, not gaining any ground, back towards the line of scrimmage. That's a huge deal for this offensive line. So they go motion to empty. This is the fourth down play, I believe. And we'll just let it play out here. And obviously you see the heads-up play, not only with the catch, but also making the hand signals like I didn't catch this ball. But you look at the left tackle, the left tackle's catching. I want to emphasize this because I just think it's an important note. These offensive linemen, first of all, you have 2 wide 3 techniques. They're always doing, the tackles in particular are doing such a good job of making sure they're not going to get beat on TEs. So they're not just jumping out of there and trying to wide set all the time when they have these wide 3s. That's number one. Number two, although Mailata is kind of naturally tilted, they're trying to stay as square towards the line of scrimmage as they can for as long as they can, and they like to drift back. And just, again, you're winning with footwork, you're winning with body position, not a lot of this other, try to get on him early, try to jump set him, try to do all this stuff and give him a short corner. We'll see that later in the tape, why that's a problem. But he's back, and he's catching. He gets that arm inside. It's a great job, but once you get your head in there like 94 does, right here, now that you're bowling down the middle and you've kind of disappeared and you have to reorient yourself and find that quarterback, Hurts is gone. As soon as he sees that, as soon as he senses that, gone. And there's just nothing you do. He's broken contain all of a sudden. And this is if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, or I guess if you're the San Francisco 49ers, you're going, okay, what do we do now? If we bull rush at the edges, because that's really where they have great the great ability to collapse pockets. But if they bull rush, he's out the door. If we pick a side, he picks the other one. They've already done it twice on the other side where you've chosen wrong. And so now he's popped out the left side. They make this huge play on the first drive. Hurts is really changing the game for these guys as far as their ability as to what to do. You see the next play, and I know that this happens fast, but both these guys are like, all right, well, what do you want me to do now? Like, I'm not willing to take the chance. He's just beat us 3 times, gotten out of bad plays and created great plays 3 times on the first drive when we're trying to bull rush, when we think we have a legitimate shot at getting him. So now he's back here all day camping out. I mean, and as far as the defensive line goes, or secondary, this is as demoralizing as it gets. There's just nobody within 10 yards of Jalen Hurts for a long time on this play. And I believe this is the touchdown to end the series, and you just see the double teams. We'll look at this first from the sideline and then from the end zone. But, I mean, these double teams this is something else. So this is a 6-man box. They're playing 31 at the safety against 88 here. 88's going to have to block number 75, the defensive end. But you really just, at the core of this, Mailata's got to go single block, and he's not going to come off the ball very hard. There's just creating a wall there on the left side. This is all about, can these two double teams defeat those 4 players? And you pick a side you want to be impressed by. It's just amazing how good these guys are. And just from a technical standpoint, what you're trying to accomplish, you look at the right side first. The way that the right tackle marries up and is in line and kind of almost left leg is in unison with the right leg, and the right guard does such a good job of keep creating that bumper and trying to go as vertical as possible. And then you see over on the left side here, the footwork's not as great by Dickerson, but Kelsey has done a fabulous job of really squaring that guy up, trying to get vertical. Dickerson's leaning back into him so they can push vertical up to Greenlaw. And this is as easy a run as you're going to see. I think anybody who's watching this tape could probably get through that hole. And the San Francisco 49ers are the number 1 defense in the National Football League, and the Eagles are just that good. Now, long-term, all this stuff has repercussions, and you just saw it throughout the game, even though the game changes. You look at number 3 is going to bang out on Bosa. Bosa's got his outside hand down. So, again, you're thinking of that 3-step rush. What does that mean? That means Lane's just going to get vertical now. So he's going to do his initial set, and everyone's talking about how fast he gets off. We talked about that before, anticipation. There's a technique behind it. There's a skill set that he's really, really worked on to get there. But now you see he's just backing up. He's got his hands low. I mean, you're not a fan of some of this stuff, but he's just from a foot. Again, you forget his hands and everything else. Footwork and body position, he's in a great position to be successful. You banged out with number 3 on Bosa, and now he's able to punch and extend. Everybody else is doing a fantastic job, but that really was the premier matchup for this game. Just want to show later in the game, this is like one of the few times you're actually seeing numbers in the box. Right, so they have 13 personnel in the game. They like to run out of 12 and 13. This is the first time they're matching up. They got 9 in the box here. And the San Francisco Niners are a great defense, and they make some plays. But it's just, you're going to create, once this is when you have a quarterback that can run, when you have a quarterback that makes great decisions, when you have a quarterback that can throw, and when you have an offensive line and skill position, when you have talent at positions, they've stockpiled talent and they've developed talent. I think that's why I'm so impressed with the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, they don't have a guy they're trying to hide on offense. Every team, San Francisco 49ers, every team has somebody they're trying to hide on offense. They don't have anybody on their offense. I just don't think they need to hide anyone. It's fun to watch. They go back to, you're looking at a 7 in the box look, but Hufanga is really playing against the tight end. And I'll go back here to the jump. So you got the outside hand down with Bosa. That means he's going to take his 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now he's gone straight up field. Now he wants to come in. Lane's trying to get back to his real estate position under control. You see his hands are out a little wide. He's giving that chest, but Lane Johnson's 325 pounds. He's strong. They're basically saying, Mailata's saying the same thing. Hey, if you guys want to bull rush us all day, that's great. You're just not going to take the edge. Like, you're not going to get a free rush, an edge rush, a short corner on me. You're going to have to go through me. I'm much more comfortable with you trying to go through me. Like, your default is going to have to be a bull rush than you trying to wipe my hands off, you trying to take my edge, you trying to rip over the top of me. And it's, again, you're saying, okay, well, he got pushed back into the quarterback. Dude, that's Nick Bosa. Like, this is a really, really good matchup against 2 great players. You get this 5-man line. The first thing I wanted to show here is the left tackle doing such a good job of he's in such a great position if they wanted to run a TE. If they want to run a TE here, they're just a TE, excuse me. They're just not going to be able to run it because of the body position that Mailata creates along with Dickerson. And then if you want to go back in here, Kelsey has that hand, so he's punching outside to inside, which I'm not a huge fan of. Obviously, you'd like to go inside to inside so he can't get blocked, but he is perfect with his hand, and he extends now. And when he extends, he puts his back foot, and he's creating this kind of unbreakable line between his right foot post and his left foot stab. And so he's creating a great body position against a larger human who's got a longer reach and weighs a lot more. He's creating this great body position to hold him off long enough for Hurts to get the ball off. Really fantastic job. And listen, that's not a sustainable block for Kelsey, but Kelsey, Armstead's not creating a sustainable block period against him. And so what he's doing, again, if we go back, just from a body position standpoint, right there, he has turned his body and he's trying to press out to stop that bull, and you're creating that space. You're just trying to create space with your body position, now with your arm, it's punching, extending, trying to create that space between you and the quarterback. Great job. Pro's pro right there. Give him that 5-down look with the linebacker walked up in the over the center. They bail. I want to just demonstrate again. This looks like basic stuff, guys. If you look across the National Football League, college football, high school football, like people don't set in common sense ways. What these guys do, and Mailata is not as good as Lane as far as just like the nuances of the game, right? Like, and Mailata is really, really good. But Lane, you can just see, like, he's basically saying, 56, I don't think you can bull me. So I would love for you to come and try to bull rush me, but I tell you what you're not going to do. You're not going to beat me on a TE. Armstead is not going to be able to crease us right here. I have all the confidence in the world that you can't get around the corner if I set like this. And that's what I love about it. So now everyone's in a great position to be successful. Hurts, because he doesn't step up. And he'll step up right here. If he pumped this ball with Armstead feeling, if he felt pressure, he would step up. But he doesn't step up immediately, and that creates the space that we see. So when we watch this team, and you're like, Mike, they've got so much space. The quarterback has so much space. It's like, well, yeah, because he doesn't step up in the pocket immediately, which is the default for like 90% of the quarterbacks in the league. It's fantastic. I think we got a couple more here. Again, I just love the way that if you like football, if you like the Hogs, if you like watching meatheads up front, like, and you don't love this guy, the way he comes off the rock, man. I mean, and the fact that he can come off the rock like this, and Greenlaw's not triggering. He comes off the rock like this to just knock out Kinlaw, their first-round pick from 2020. I believe that's Kinlaw. And Greenlaw here is not triggering. In other words, he's not coming downhill. Usually you see a guy like this, as soon as you see that body turn, he's coming downhill. He's going to knock that center out. Just going to knock him out. But because they run so much play action pass off this, because they have options on the other side, he's got to stay and read this. Kelsey's up. Huge run. It's a function of place. It's scheme. It's technique. It's play speed. It's aggressiveness. You see the bunch look on the bottom now. So this play looks very similar to the pull we saw earlier. All of a sudden they throw it out for the tight end screen. If you watch this play, you got the pull by Kelsey. They've seen that. We've seen this story before. Fine comes down and makes a great play for only a 5-yard gain. Now you've got the bunch look again. Pull, pin and pull, running back. And Kelsey's up. One thing you got to appreciate, he's not measuring this guy. He's picking his lane. He's running through. It's the running back's responsibility to read off him. He doesn't need to slow down. If he slows down, he has the opportunity to be the nail, not the hammer. And he's probably 265, 270 pounds. So if Greenlaw wants to come downhill and smash him, they can have a confrontation. If Kelsey decides to slow down, he could mess up the route of the running back. So he just runs through these. He does this consistently on every time you see him pull. Easy touchdown. Really fun to watch. Let's see what we got here. This was an interesting play. So this is the tight end. Everybody remembers this. This is a downhill play. Lane Johnson sees something here and doesn't trigger and go get Bosa. He waits, and he's going to double and just kind of gum this up with Armstead. But watch the center, Kelsey here, as Bosa decides to try to read this inside. And it's not like Greenlaw's triggering outside. but he closes, he plays box technique. He puts his chest towards the center. Center just gets him. Edge is taken. Phenomenal job. Now, that's one side of the ball. So I showed you the first series and the kind of other things that happen off that. I could show you a number of other plays where Bosa stops rushing, where the linebackers are staying back at 5 yards and not triggering. All of this because their scheme, their system, but really because of the talent in individual players have. And then you see, and what I really wanted to show here is like, it's not just the system and the scheme. It's guys like Lane Johnson, guys like Jason Kelce, all of them really. But I pick on those two because they're all pros. And the knowledge that they have and the understanding they have about their opponent, and understand, like, for example, Nick Bosa, if he's in that outside foot stance, like, chances are he's going 3 and coming in. And it's a leverage game. And so I'm just going to get back and win with my body position, my feet. I'm going to work out my hands on the way. But the most important thing is to get into your real estate position under control so you can have success. There's just things you don't want to lose on against great players, like a wipe, a rip, a short corner. That's what you don't want to lose on against a guy like Bosa, for example. And so you're just going to make sure you're winning with your footwork and your body position. And you see, like, it's not perfect necessarily with his hands, although a lot of it is amazing. It's not necessarily perfect with his hands, but it is darn near perfect with your body position, and that's how you win in the National Football League. Let's check out Hassan Reddick. So he obviously ended this game early by hurting Purdy, and then I think he had the sack, could have been a sack fumble on the next play against Johnson. But when you're watching the first series and how he's coming off the rock, okay, so we've got tight end to his side, so tight end left on the screen. And the way he's firing off the ball, McGlinchey comes out. And I thought all day McGlinchey was going to have a real tough time blocking him. And unfortunately, maybe the Niners felt the same way, so they figured they'd block him with a tight end. But he gets inside here for an early pressure. First play of the game, goes to Kittle. That doesn't go just so, when you're thinking about it, like, you see that play on TV and you go, oh, okay, Kittle, great game. Great first play of the game. The tackle who just got beat inside on the first play of the game is going like, like, what am I, okay, now I got to think about that. Now if I run at him, I really got to be tight with my angle. There's so many things, especially if you have a problem, or there's so many things you got to worry about. So as you continue on down the path here, now he sees motion. So we got two things going here. He's got an outside foot up. He could crack him. And now you see, I believe that is Juszczyk coming in motion. And so he's going, all right, I got a couple things going here that I might worry about. I'm going to fire off the ball. I'm just going to get upfield. He's hitting Juszczyk, but if you think about, like, the context of what he's really trying to do, he's making plays on the way to the quarterback. His body position, his angle, everything is designed to go get Brock Purdy. That's what Hassan Reddick had 16 sacks, I believe, going into this game, 17 and a half coming out. But everything he does in this first series is designed to, I'm getting upfield, I'm going to try to make plays on this quarterback. One of the advantages you have when you're at home again with a loud crowd is McGlinchey's got to look in. So Hassan Reddick also is saying, listen, they're not going to be able to time the snap count. If McGlinchey is looking in at the ball or looking in at the hand motion, all this stuff, he's not going to be able to get me anyways. Like, I'm going to be able to get a yard deep and win the real estate battle all day if I want to. So physical from the jump. Philadelphia Eagles are number 2 defense in the league. This shouldn't have been a surprise to anybody. So now we've got the motion with CMC. You've got 12 personnel, or 22 personnel, I guess we're going to call, well, it depends who we're calling in the backfield, but 2 tight ends, one hipped off off of Reddick here. Now we just go straight bull, and you can see he's back in the pocket. He's got that inside stab, not able to get to work that elbow. On McGlinchey's side, you got to be able to work that elbow off. So now you've already seen this. You've seen the speed. You've seen the inside move. You've seen the contact in the run game. You're gonna see the physicality and the stab bull rush here. There's just a lot going on, and he's right now banking like that dude in a 3-point stance is not ever going to be able to block me. And we'll show it here in a couple plays. Good pocket. Again, we got a hipped off look here. You see the downhill demeanor of 81. Again, he is going for the quarterback. He will adjust and tackle on the way to the quarterback. He is going for the quarterback. He's going to take on the pulling left guard here. Could have got away with a hold call by the left guard there. I call it a good block because I'm a left guard. But this is what he's thinking. He's looking at this like, hey, I'm going to go get Purdy. I can figure all the rest of this stuff out. I just need to go get that quarterback. And so that's the second time in a row they gave him the hipped off look. So they go a third time in a row. They go twins out here. So they got a double look with attached tight end, hipped off tight end. They got two guys out, and they're going to go under center, motion in, play action pass, and with the ghost route over the top, the ghost look off the play action. The ghost look is when the running back here is coming around the backfield like they're going to hand off. They're not going to. They just go play action here. Gets beat. We know now, 6 months out, UCL tear, problems. When you watch this, even if you're sitting on the sideline and you're looking kind of during the course of the last 4 or 5 plays, you have to be thinking to yourself, boy, Sweat and Reddick are really coming off the ball. Like, they're not messing around. Reddick's not playing today. Like, he's going for the quarterback every time. I don't know if he's going to go for any fakes. And look, I think Kyle Shanahan's the best play caller and scheme designer in the National Football League. And this is the first series of the game. This is the first 15 play. It makes you take a little bit of pause, right? Because just looking at it right now, it doesn't. You don't feel like number 81 is going to be able to block Reddick, just knowing who both of them are. And then you look at this position, and this is why when I hear offensive linemen, retired guys in the National Football League going, well, you can't run play action if you can't block with tight ends. It's like, that might be true, but you don't put him in a 3-point stance hipped off from Kittle against a stand-up 2-point guy who's rushing the passer regardless. He's not buying any fakes. That's something that you can scheme out of. You could run a guy over the top right here and make him hesitate. You could run him out and then you could run him over the top of Reddick, make him go inside, and then have CMC block him. Like, there's a lot of different ways. You could throw 2 guys at him is what I'm saying. There's a lot of different ways to do this that don't involve a tight end trying to pass set against the, one of the 2 or 3 top rushers in the National Football League this year. So this is why it's such a problem. So you get to this point, and now if you just do math, right? So the tight end has attacked him at the line of scrimmage. He already has a little bit of outside leverage. You can see that the tight end's feet are wide. And this is this is what I tell offensive linemen. At this stage, if you want to short set a defensive end or defensive tackle, effectively all you have to do if you're the defensive end right here is you have to gain about 5 or 6 yards of depth, and you have about, 15 yards of width in order to do it. So you've given me 15 yards of width to just get 5 or 6 yards deeper. Like, a good defensive end can do that all day. They'll take that bet every single time. That's why these short sets with these tight ends on the line of scrimmage are always problematic, because if you don't glove them up, if they don't run right into you, or if they're just feeling like you don't even exist right now, and that's how Reddick feels. Reddick feels like this guy does not even exist. I'm going for the quarterback until somebody proves that that's a bad idea. See, he just goes arm over here. And, he slowed him down for, a quarter of a second. But really, this play, he could have gotten rid of the ball. A lot of things can happen. It's just you put yourself in that situation when you take your best pass rusher and you block him with arguably across the line. So you've got your 5 offensive linemen. You've got your tight end, your starting tight end, George Kittle, who's a great blocker. And then you got your second guy. He's arguably the worst of those 7. And he's, unlike a running back, he's not coming from depth. He actually has to get out of a 3-point stance and kick out. If he doesn't kick out, he has to kick flat. If he kicks flat, it just turns into a geometry game like we just showed. So that's really where the game ended right there. They put in their 4th-string quarterback. I think he had 2 snaps during the year before that. And Eagles are a great football team. Niners are a great football team, but nobody can win with their 4th-string quarterback. And CMC's in there playing quarterback at the end of the game, and it was tough, but it just goes to show you, there's so much that goes into it. And when you're on the sidelines and you're thinking about this game from a player standpoint, you can see the game plan that maybe Lane Johnson has based on who he's playing, based on the scheme that they run, based on where the quarterback stands, based on the escapability. You see the game plan that Bosa has versus because of who he's playing, not only in front of him, but also who he's playing in the backfield, what that situation looks like. And then conversely, you're looking at it from a coaching standpoint. You see, okay, Hassan Reddick, he's on one right now. He's going to get that quarterback. He's consistently in this first series, and usually you have these conversations after the first drive. Unfortunately, it just, it's like 5-6 plays in, and you lose your quarterback. There's not much. There's no communication time here, right? As far as like the offensive line coach is like, hey, by the way, Reddick's just trying to beat everybody off the line. He sacked the quarterback. He doesn't really care about anything else right now. Like, that's a good piece of information that would be transferred probably like the next series when they get off the field. Not right in that moment, but it's, if you could go back in time, you go, man, he really is coming off the ball on every one of these plays trying to get that quarterback. This is part of the game, and this is something you have to adjust to, and you have to learn as a player. You go and you go, okay, I have to understand all these things. I have to understand these factors, and he might not be buying these run cells, and I got to do something to counteract that because I need to get to my real estate spot under control before he does. Otherwise, I'm going to give him that short corner. We see it's a problem. This is going to be a great matchup going into next week. We'll do something on the Chiefs next week and maybe Chris Jones and the job he did, and obviously the interior of their offensive line against the interior of the Eagles' offensive line, because I think that is the premier matchup going into this Super Bowl when we're talking about from the trenches. There's obviously some things in the secondary that are going to be super exciting, particularly those cornerbacks from Philly against the wide receivers and that whole group with MVS and with Smith-Schuster, and then obviously how they're going to figure out Kelsey in the middle. I mean, there's a lot going on there, but really, for me, you think about the interior offensive line for the Chiefs and how good they've been led by Creed Humphrey against like really the 5-man rotation of the Philadelphia Eagles. You've got Sue, Linval Joseph, Javon Hargraves, who's just on one right now, Fletcher Cox. I mean, these guys are really, really top-level players. I include Brandon Graham. He'll go in there and play 3 technique, or Josh Sweat will come and play 3 technique in nickel. So you just think about all the different people they have to see and all the problems they present. Going to be a fun game. Really looking forward to it. If you're enjoying this, subscribe, rate, review on our YouTube channel. Tell your friends. Mike Wahle'S 68 on Twitter. I'll be putting out some clips periodically during the